walk us through the decision to release Darnell Savage and what went into that yesterday.
Yeah, just at the end of the day, wish him nothing but the best, and best just at this time, best for both parties. For him to have a runway to go and get on the grass, and wish him nothing but the best.
When we talked to you on Monday, you said after that you were going to talk to Brian Thomas. How'd the conversation go? Where's his head at right now?
Yeah, I mean, just like anybody on this team, nobody was pleased with the outcome, right? And we had some good conversations, really good conversations, and everybody was frustrated. But at the end of the day, he's got a great opportunity to bounce back, as does the rest of our team, and feel really confident about that.
Just how important is it getting him on the right track for this offense to be, I guess, what it can be?
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, you've got a very talented player that we want to continue to try to get the most out of, and put him in a position to continue to be successful and stay and continue to have his back.
And we have your third game week with Travis Hunter practicing. Have you guys found a sweet spot on how to divide his week and how to make sure he gets better on both sides?
I think so. I think we were very intentional last week, specifically about some of the volume and mileage that we were looking at deploying, and it showed up on Sunday. There's definitely things to clean up about that in terms of detailing the preparation and making sure that all of the formations, all the alignments, but we can help them too, and maybe simplify some of that stuff as well for them. But very happy with where things were last week in terms of our organization with him, his preparation, and we kind of continue to do that this week as we continue to just evaluate how many snaps and what it's going to look like each week.
And if guys on offense say the learning curve is greater as a receiver as opposed to a corner, is that where the mental side comes in? Is he spending more time on offense?
It's right now, honestly, guys, it's pretty split up. It's pretty 50-50 at the moment. But the extra work that he's putting in, on his own, earlier in the mornings before meetings even get started, on his own on both sides. So he does have to do, I don't want to call it double time, but it is in a lot of ways a little bit of double time. And so I thought he had a really intentional week last week. The way that he prepared, the way that he practiced, was exactly what we're hunting up. So was definitely pleased, and hopefully it continues to carry over.
Is there a worry that grinds on him as a rookie too much at some point?
I mean, I think if anything, we probably have a little bit more encouragement and excitement about where things went this last week in terms of being able to handle that workload. And yeah, we've got to manage it though. Like, it's something we are constantly evaluating. We were just meeting a minute ago with sports science with Chris Bach about that, and with Jay Kaiser about his schedule and about what it looks like, what the mileage, what we're hoping to get out of today, tomorrow, the whole vision. So is it a concern? No, it's just something that we definitely need to make sure we're constantly evaluating and being able to tweak if necessary.
With Anderson and Hunter, how did the Texans challenge you from a pass rush standpoint?
Yeah, those guys, it's obviously being in that division in LA with San Fran, right? Very, very similar structure, the way that they come off the rock, the way that they want to disrupt. We have got to have another sound plan when it comes to protecting the quarterback, but also in the run game, manufacturing different ways to manipulate those guys. Like I said, it takes all 11, but specifically the way that they want to roll off and come off the rock and play. Talented, got a lot of respect for the way that those guys play the game and can be very disruptive.
How valuable is it that, on Monday night you have Tampa Bay going up against Houston? Just, obviously the schemes might be a little different now, but just from your past there, having that scheme go against
in LA week one. Mm-hmm. So we've got some good formations to work with, like things that we formationally, conceptually, things that we obviously have and want to sometimes deploy, that it really helps us get a good look at maybe how they'll adjust, how they'll play certain formations, certain motions, certain concepts, what's been helpful, what hasn't worked, things like that. I mean, those are all very, beneficial to have. So it gives us just a little bit different inventory, especially going into only having 2 weeks, right? But those are 2 weeks of good tape for us.
I know half the locker room hasn't been here for the last however many
that infiltrate the building in a week like this?
I think they're aware. You know, I mean, we've really tried not to look back much, and you know, out last year, whatever it is, we're trying to really go forward. And each year is a new year. Each week is a new week. And look, I think these guys are aware of what is at stake in terms of just the competitiveness between these two teams, and that we haven't had a ton of success, but that's the past, and we're looking forward. And these guys, I think, have the right mentality, the way that they're approaching things, the way that we competed in the first two games. Yeah, the outcome last week wasn't what we were hoping for, but these guys continue to play their tails off. And are starting to continue to do it physically, and that's going to be this type of game.
Coach, how do you strike a balance in the communication between the game doesn't come down to one play, but when there is one play to be made, especially at the end of the game when you're running out of time,
right,
it's important to make that.
That's a great point. You try to really, you know, at the end of each game, man, guys, whether it's the refs, whether it's the opponent, whatever it is, guys, look, that we control our outcome in so many ways. We try not to put it in other people's hands. So when our number's called, when the opportunity presents, we've got to make those plays. It's the teams that make those plays usually win the game, and we've got to continue to learn to do that and to do it out here in practice, to put your mind through those situations as the work week goes. Start to visualize yourself making those plays and putting yourself in those positions. But the thing that I do feel is there's a general confidence, I think, from this group right now, even after the result at the end of the last game. Frustrating, disappointing, but a great learning lesson for us to be able to go and say, hey, look, guys, we got to take it out of, and we're not going to get a call. We're not going to put it in other people's hands. We got to go take it. And it's on us to go do that. Nobody else is going to do it for us.
Because the game was last year against the Texans when Trevor got hit by Aziz Al-Shaair, is there less of a worry about any kind of retaliation from you? I mean,
I wouldn't, you know, if that's on our minds, then, you know, we're probably thinking about the wrong things right now.
what do you say to, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, what do you say to Trevor about facing him again?
The way that he can show that he's, you know, continuing to respond is in his preparation, in the way that he's surgical with his footwork, with his reads, like playing the position at a high level and continuing to get better week in and week out, mastering their defensive scheme, knowing what's going to happen, you know, using the formations and motions to be able to undress the defense, like being and playing the quarterback position at a high level, and being a surgeon is how he can, if he feels that way. He hasn't brought it up or anything like that. So I just think, you know, continuing to focus on him, on us, on our guys, on our execution, you know, that's how you ultimately respond to anything.
What makes you a good screen team?
You know, I think we have multiple different players that can catch them and do something with them, which I've appreciated, whether it's the receiver position, the running back position, or even the tight end position that, you know, we had some up last week, just didn't end up getting to. And I think with our OL being a little bit more athletic and having the ability to run in space really helps. And we've detailed the heck out of them. There's landmarks on every single screen in terms of where we're trying to catch it. What's the timing of the screen? Is it a 2-count screen? Is it a 3-count screen? Is it a set and go screen? You know, we've tried to detail the heck out of those just to, hey guys, like, because every look and every screen is different in its own entity. And so whether somebody blitzes, we don't block blitzers. We just want to level up and go get our eyes inside this week. Or hey, when they blitz, the next player that you're going to look for is now up or outside this week. Trying to detail those things up for these guys so that they're prepared for any of those looks that could come up. And is it a screen that we like versus zone better, or is it a screen that we like versus man better? And some of those things, and trying to set them up formationally.
What's more important against ends like the screen game or running game?
Oh man, that's a great question. I think there's a huge balance there that you want to have. You look at Tampa, I think last week, having that balance was, okay, they ran for 170 yards and also hit some screens that were ended up being explosive plays and game-changing plays. So I think that's kind of the balance you're hunting up when you're talking about, trying to neutralize darn good rushers and edge players to help these OL. Like, that's another way that you're helping the offensive line to not just sit there and say we're going to drop back 40 times and put these guys in a position to just go tee off and do what they do best. So it's the balance of, all right, arc them, wham them, trap them, crack them, screen them. Like, that whole dynamic is something that we've got to be detailed and intentional about this week.
With the
when you start your process with Houston yesterday or Monday, do you watch the game start to finish first, or do you immediately jump into the cutoffs?
No, start to finish first, always. So it's kind of their last game, start to finish, just to get a flow of that game, get a flow for the play callers on both sides and really in all three phases. Get a feel for within a game who is either side of the ball trying to go attack in certain situations, seeing who performs on third downs in the red zone and crunch time, who can we, go attack in some of those moments. And then you kind of jump into the formation cut-ups, the personnel cut-ups. Okay, where are they at in 2x2 double? Where are they at in 3x1 trips or bunch? How do they handle 1x3 in slot formations? And then you get into the motion tape. So that's kind of how we try to build the game plan and how we start to visualize to attack our opponents.
With the 3 safety looks you guys have deployed, is there confidence in Antonio stepping in there, or does it kind of change now that the personnel has changed?
No, that's the goal, is to Antonio has flashed some really good stuff since we've all gotten here. Obviously, physically, big dude who can run. And when Antonio is playing confident and playing fast and knows exactly what he's doing, man, he can be disruptive. He can impact the game for us in a positive way. But now this is a great challenge and opportunity for Antonio, and that's what we communicated to him was, man, we've got confidence in you. Now you've got to go and take it and earn it and show it every single day because you have the ability to do so.
And what kind of advantage do you guys get from having Tuden and Etienne on the field together?
Yeah, I mean, we've two guys that both can, we've had success running the football with, and then, both guys that can catch the football and do something with it as well. Tuten on the one screen, it's maybe a 2-3 yard gain, and he splits through, and Anton had an unbelievable block on that play. The effort that he showed on that screen that kind of got out on Tuten on our sideline was great effort, but it's the ability to say, okay, you can put either one in maybe different spots in some ways, but both can catch it and do something with it. I can't coach that. I also, so you can try to design to put them in a position to go get them in space and do what they do best.
Has Parker Washington earned a bigger role on the offense?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Parker has, you guys saw it all through training camp, right? And the way that he's continued to ascend and perform, whether it be out in the practice field, in the meeting settings, and then on Sundays. So that was something that when we went into last week, we wanted to get him a bigger role and to get him going. Didn't do a good enough job of that in week 1. Week 2, and that's just a great example of a guy staying the course. And yeah, it didn't, for him personally, show in the stat column on week 1 against Carolina, right? So how does he work the next week? How does he respond? How does he handle it? And then he goes out on Sunday and makes plays and makes some huge plays for us. So he's absolutely earned a bigger role.
Speaking of Parker, how would you evaluate kick return, punt return game, and then coverage too, since I know with the Bengals, the starting field position probably less than optimal.
Needs to be improved. We're gonna evaluate, the kickoff return thing and just see how many other guys we're gonna look at competition back there. We've got to do a better job communicating as an off returner. I mean, last week that guy was putting them right on the goal line, and those are brutal because you're sitting there and you teach these guys to catch a kickoff in a staggered stance, and so well, where's the one foot versus the other? That's got to have great communication and trust between those two back there. So that's something we're evaluating this week. And I mean, Houston has a very good special teams unit, physical, aggressive, fakes. They have speed down the field in all phases. So this is a great opportunity for our unit that, you know, coming off the heels of not our best performance and not the standard, to bounce back against a great team.
And then to your kicking game part of it, I know Cam told us he's still trying to get used to this new format.
Totally.
What would you say from that perspective?
Have a ton of confidence in Cam. I mean, obviously, he's been lights out making his kicks and that operation, and just, dude, continue to take that confidence into kickoff. And yeah, it's a work in progress, right? And so nobody was ultra thrilled with some of that execution. Cam's one of the first guys up here on Tuesdays on the off day, coming in to make sure that it's getting done right and getting fixed. So got a lot of confidence in that group, and Heath and Luke and those guys in there, and fully anticipate those guys, you know, bouncing back this week.
Thanks, Coen.